Generational building is timeless. Low country architecture never goes out of style. Transom windows, hog fencing, porches, these are all timeless examples of low country architecture that are still in keeping today. Transom windows were used historically as air conditioning, modern day air conditioning 200 years ago. With the high ceilings that were used, the transoms were opened, creating convection where the cooler air would come in the doors and the warmer air would go out the transom windows. Most architecture today, low country architecture, still uses those transom windows to emulate that look that was used years ago. Another aspect of building 200 years ago, hog fencing. Back then, the houses were built up off the ground, get off of the moist low country earth, air underneath there so the houses breathe. What happened was animals, particularly hogs, were able to rut under the houses. Many homes in the low country today are constructed with hog fencing, not to keep the hogs out from underneath the house, but to keep the other critters out. Years ago, operable shutters were used to keep the wind and the rain out of the houses. Today, operable shutters are still used, not to keep the wind and the rain out, but to give that appearance that was used years ago. Paint blue was used by the gullahs years ago to keep the evil spirits away. Today, you'll see on a lot of low country homes, particularly the porch ceilings, the use of haint blue. Not to keep the haints or the evil spirits away, but to emulate that look of the gullah tradition. The blue that was used years ago actually came from the indigo plant that the gullahs would use. The African slaves used the indigo to dye clothes. Blue was a very prominent color in the low country. So as a continuation of that, the blue was used on the houses to keep the evil spirits away. Porches traditionally have been used in the low country as a gathering area, as a place to escape the oppressive heat during the summer. Porches have very high ceilings. Typically a low country porch has 3 sides exposed, so you get cross ventilation. A low country porch is more than an outside area, it is an outside room. It's an extension of the inside of the house. From April to October, a low country porch is used just like any other room inside the house. Generations ago, low country homes were built to take advantage of breezes off the Colleton River, the May River, the Chichessie River. Still done today. These breezes are prevailing, typically year-round, so houses are situated so they take advantage of these breezes. The outdoor living, the low country porches that are done today are situated such that these breezes are a constant. Ceiling fans in the low country were used predominantly in most of the rooms. Low country homes had very high ceilings, once again to allow that heat to rise. And what they would do is you'd have to get some air moving around. So most of the rooms, bedrooms, common areas, porches, would have ceiling fans just to get some air moving around. Hundreds of years ago, glass was shipped from England. The colonies didn't have glass producing factories over here. So what happened was they shipped all their glass and sawdust or wood shavings to the colonies. Low country homes had many small panes of glass because breakage was quite common on the ship coming over from England. So people could tell a wealthy man by the size of the glass in his window. So the larger the glass, the wealthier the individual was. Today, many low country homes still use true divided or simulated divided light windows to emulate the old low country homes. Generational building in the past was done out of necessity. As a family grew, the main mass, the original structure that was built, had to be added on. Materials that were used were materials that they had on hand. For instance, the major mass might have been built out of clapper siding. The wing for the children might be built with board and batten. Today, you'll still see that used in low country architecture. What you have behind me is natural tabby. It's a lost art. We don't know how to replicate it. As you can see, they built the structure in lifts. They would pour this on one day, let it set up, come back a few days later, pour this, and so forth until they reach the total height of the structure. What they did to make this natural tabby was use oyster shell that was harvested from local Indian middens. They would burn the shell to get the lime out of it, since we didn't have lime in the low country, and very often mix this with salt water from the rivers and creeks. poured this in a mix, set a form, and then poured these lifts. What you see is a hole on the outside of this tabby ruin. You'll also notice it's on the top of this lift. This hole was placed here to support the porch that was attached to the outside of this structure. You'd also see this on the inside of the structure where the floor system was installed. As I said, it's a lost art. We don't know how to replicate it. We try to emulate it today in construction by using it in driveways as well as tabby stucco where the shell is applied on the outside. But once again, these walls are 12 inches thick and has certainly stood the test of time. Details in a home are everything. Whether it's the reclaimed heart pine floors that typically come from textile mills in the upstate or North Carolina or Virginia, to the buttboard on the walls, typically is washed with an adjacent wall color to get a sense of depth. Maybe it's the MDF doors with the solid bronze hardware that's installed. It might be the coffered ceiling with the trim color that's painted inside the coffer to create a sense of intimacy. These are all details that you'll see in a low country house. So what we have here are antique pine floors. They've come out of the Danville Mills in Danville, Virginia. And Sammy, who's a 110-pound lab, walks all over these floors. And the folks here don't mind because it's a character floor. So Sammy's paw marks blend in very nicely with the antique spike marks that are here that were part of the character of the floor when it came out of the mill. Windows and doors in the low country are very important. They keep the weather out, let the light in. Behind me is a low country window. It's a double hung window. It's a simulated divided light window made by Weathershield. It's low E argon filled, so it has good UVA and UVB values. That means it keeps the energy in and the light out. The windows come in a lot of colors and styles, whether it's a casement window, whether it's a double hung window, whether you have a French slider, whether you have a French door. There are myriad of number of windows and door styles that you can choose from. But when you choose a low country home, you typically choose a simulated divided light with a light pattern that will fit the style of your home. Weathershield's an excellent window. We've used Weathershield windows for many, many years. The reason that we like them is they have an excellent warranty program. They have tons of colors. They have multiple layers of windows and different styles and features. Weathershield makes an excellent door as well. They have a French slider. In this particular home, we have multiple French sliders that come together with a multi-lock system. Oil rub bronze hardware or hardware colors of your choices that you can use.